Golden sunlight spills over the rooftops of Shushan, the royal city of Persia. In a quiet corner of the city, a modest home stands apart from the noise. Inside, a young girl named Hadassah, known to the world as Esther, moves with quiet grace, tending to her chores. She wears a simple linen dress with a pale blue sash, her warm brown eyes reflecting a gentle spirit. Her guardian, Mordecai, works nearby, his steady presence a reminder of the love and protection she has always known. Beyond the city's winding alleys, the palace of King Xerxes rises like a jewel against the morning sky. Its towering white marble columns shimmer in the sunlight, crowned with golden roofs that gleam like fire. The massive bronze gates stand guarded by soldiers in crimson and gold, their polished spears catching every ray of light. The peaceful hum of the city is broken by the pounding of hooves. Royal messengers in scarlet cloaks race through Shushan, their voices carrying over the crowd. They bear an urgent decree. The king seeks a new queen. Across the marketplace, whispers spread like wind through the trees. In the stillness of her home, Esther continues her work, unaware that her life is about to change forever. The path that awaits her will lead from the dusty streets of Shushan to the very heart of the Persian court, and into a destiny that will shape the future of her people. At Esther's door, palace officials arrive, their robes marked with the royal crest, their eyes calm yet commanding. Behind them, soldiers wait astride powerful horses, sunlight flashing on polished armor. Esther steps into the open air, leaving behind the safety of her small home. The streets she has known all her life now feel strange, the murmurs of neighbors following her. The path winds toward the towering palace gates. The bronze gates swing open with a deep, echoing groan, revealing a world unlike anything Esther has ever seen. Sunlight spills into the grand courtyard, where marble columns rise like towering trees, their surfaces inlaid with gold and turquoise. Fountains send arcs of water into the air, catching the light in shimmering droplets. Esther is led through vast corridors lined with carved walls, scenes of kings and battles captured in gleaming relief. The air is cool and scented with myrrh and cinnamon. In the distance, the sound of soft music drifts from unseen chambers. The women's quarters are a place of quiet elegance, filled with silken curtains and low tables of ivory. Here, she will remain under the care of Haggai, the keeper of the women, who oversees the long preparation before any may stand before the king. Days turn into weeks as Esther settles into the women's quarters, a place of quiet beauty and endless routine. Under the watchful care of Haggai, her life takes on a new rhythm. Each morning, the air is filled with the soft scent of myrrh, frankincense, and sweet aloes. The months pass in 2 seasons, 6 months in the fragrance of myrrh, 6 months in perfumes and adornment. Her hair is treated with rare oils from distant lands, and her garments grow richer with each passing day. Silks, dyed in deep crimson and blue, stitched with threads of gold. But beyond the outward preparation, Esther's heart remains steady. She speaks little, listens much, and treats all with quiet kindness. Haggai notices her grace and favors her above the others, ensuring she receives the finest care. Though she walks in splendor, her thoughts often drift to the streets of Shushan, to the simple home she once knew. She does not yet see the purpose behind her place here. But the God who brought her into these halls is shaping her for a moment yet to come. The year of preparation draws to a close. The women's quarters are quiet this morning, the air heavy with the scent of jasmine and cedarwood. At last, it is Esther's turn. Draped in a gown of deep sapphire silk that shimmers with threads of gold, she carries no excess ornament, only the adornments Haggai himself has chosen, a sign of her trust. Her long, dark hair glints softly in the lamplight, pinned with a single golden clasp. The corridors to the throne room stretch endlessly, each step echoing against the polished stone. Ahead, the great doors loom, carved with images of lions and wings, their edges edged in gold. As the doors open, light floods in, revealing the vast throne hall. At its center, on a high seat of carved ivory and gold, sits King Xerxes. His gaze fixes on her, and in that moment, the bustling court fades to silence. She walks forward with steady grace, not knowing that the choice he makes today will change the course of an entire nation. The throne room is silent as Esther approaches. Every eye follows her, but the king's gaze does not waver. The light catches the deep blue of her gown, the gold in her hair, the calm dignity in her steps. When she stops before him, the great hall seems to hold its breath. Then, King Xerxes rises. From beside his throne, a servant brings forth a golden crown. The king lifts it high and with a steady hand places it upon Esther's head. A murmur runs through the court. The search for a queen is over. Esther of Shushan is now queen of Persia. Days turn into weeks, and the palace celebrates. But in the shadows of this joy, another figure rises. Haman, the king's new highest official. His pride swells as his power grows, and his eyes fall often on Mordecai, who will not bow before him. The crown upon Esther's head is more than gold. It is a weight she does not yet understand. In the glittering halls of Persia, a quiet storm is beginning to gather, one that will test her courage more than she can yet imagine. Haman's steps echo in the marble hall, his robe trailing like a shadow. He passes bowing servants, each one feeding his pride, until he reaches the gate. There stands Mordecai, unmoving, eyes firm, head unbowed. The insult burns in Haman's chest. That night, his rage twists into a plan. He tells the king of a people scattered through the empire, different in laws, refusing to obey. It is not in the king's best interest to tolerate them, he warns, his voice smooth but venomous. In the 12th month, every Jew will be destroyed. Riders thunder out from Susa, carrying death to every province. But in the quiet of the city, one man begins to pray. In the city square, Mordecai sits in sackcloth and ashes, his face lined with grief. He wails aloud, the sound carrying through the streets. Word of his mourning reaches Esther in the palace, and she sends fresh clothes, but he refuses them. Instead, he sends a message. The words strike Esther's heart. Haman has plotted the death of all Jews, and the decree is sealed. Mordecai's plea is simple, yet heavy. Go to the king, beg for your people. But Esther's pulse quickens. The law is clear. No one approaches the king uninvited and lives, unless he extends his golden scepter. She has not been called in 30 days. Still, the weight of her crown feels heavier than ever. Mordecai's words echo in her mind. Perhaps you were born for such a time as this. Her heart pounds. The risk is clear. To approach the king uninvited is to invite death. Silence would mean the destruction of her people. She sends word to Mordecai. Gather all the Jews in Susa. Fast for me for 3 days. I and my maids will fast as well. If I perish, I perish. The third day dawns. Esther, draped in her royal robes, walks toward the throne room, each step echoing against the marble halls. Her hands tremble, but her eyes burn with quiet resolve. The king sits high on his golden throne, his gaze fixed on her. Guards stiffen, fingers on sword hilts. For a heartbeat, the air is heavy with judgment. Then the king's stern face softens. Slowly, he extends the golden scepter toward her. In that moment, the threat of death fades, and hope for her people begins to shine. The golden scepter still warm in her hand, Esther rises, her eyes meeting the king's with steady grace. What is it you request, my queen? Even half the kingdom, it shall be yours, he says. She invites the king and Haman to a banquet she has prepared. The king agrees at once, granting her request. Esther sits poised, the king's gaze fixed upon her. When he again asks her desire, her voice does not tremble. Spare my life and the lives of my people, for we have been sold to be destroyed. The king leans forward, his eyes narrowing. Who is he, and where is the man who would dare do such a thing? Esther turns her head slowly toward Haman, her voice like steel. This vile enemy is Haman. The color drains from Haman's face. The king rises in fury, his robes sweeping behind him. Guards rush forward, seizing Haman as he stammers in fear. Without mercy, the king orders him executed on the very gallows he built for Mordecai. Soon after, a new royal decree races through Persia, granting the Jews the right to defend themselves. The day meant for their destruction becomes a day of victory. And in the annals of the kingdom, the name of Esther shines forever, a queen who risked her life for her people, for such a time as this.